know about you, but I cannot believe that the year is almost over. I mean, in a matter of weeks, we're going to be in a brand new year. Now, everyone likes to start off the new year saying, hey, new year, new me. But when it comes to your job search, not so much. People start the new year with renewed energy and vigor and focus, saying, okay, this year I am actually going to land the job that I want. I'm actually going to land the job where I feel like I'm valued, higher pay or whatever. But unfortunately, the problem is that they bring the same strategies, the same resume, the same habits that they were using in 2025 that didn't get them any results into 2026 expecting something different. And it just doesn't happen like that. And you're sitting there wondering why nothing is changing. Well, today we're going to talk about why nothing changes and why you need a completely different reset. So that is what today's episode is about. The 2025 reset that you desperately need to get the results that you want in 2026. So welcome to Exit to Excel. My name is Latanya. They call me LT. And this is the podcast where we take the chaos, the confusion, and frustration out of your job search to give you the clarity and confidence that you need and deserve to make the move that you want to make. So today, as I mentioned today, this is the official 2026 job reset because I'm gonna let you know, January is one of the busiest hiring months of the year. You have managers finalizing their budgets, looking at their goals for the year, trying to figure out what needs they have. You have recruiters that are, jumping on these requisitions that they need to fill so they can have these positions filled at the beginning of the year to get their talent in, get them, through orientation and acclimated and raring to go to meet those first quarter goals. So this January is the month that you need to be ready. But the fact of the matter is a lot of job seekers are so unprepared. And look, I get it. December, we're traveling, we're spending time with our families, we're Christmas shopping, we're kind of, taking it easy to take advantage of this slower month. But if you are in the job market, you really can't afford to do that. I mean, there can be balance, but we also need to start setting the stage now to be able to crush 2026 January whenever it gets here. So today, I'm going to give you a step-by-step job search reset that you can start right now in order to start 2026 very strong, clear, focused, and impossible to ignore. So if you're joining me for the first time, then welcome. If you are coming back, then welcome back. But hit that subscribe button if you haven't hit it already, because I'm so excited about 2026. I have a lot of things planned to help us really be able to play the game to win. And so you don't want to miss any episode. So hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, hit that share button. Share this with someone that you know is in the job search game and is trying to figure it all out. Also, you can follow me on my social media. I'm on LinkedIn under Latanya Shaw. I'm also on TikTok and Instagram under Exit to Excel. So make sure you are following, liking, and sharing there. And I thank you in advance. So now that we've gotten all that out of the way, let's get on with this job search reset. Now, here's the truth. A lot of people fail at your job search, not because they're not qualified. And trust me, I talked to a lot of you, and a lot of you are aware that you are fully qualified for the jobs that you're applying for. But it's not the qualifications that's the problem. And it's not even a lot of times the resume that's the problem. The problem is that the system you are utilizing, the strategy you are utilizing is very outdated. So you are a prime candidate for a job search reset if one, you have been applying everywhere with no response. If that's you, raise your hand. If you can't say ouch, then say amen, because there's a lot of us out there who are applying and getting zero response. Number two, another reason is that your resume is fine, but it's not magnetic. And so it's not filtering through and it's not shining out above all the other hundreds of resumes that are being submitted for jobs. Three, you don't have a clear job target. That is a huge problem if you are not clear on the job that you are seeking. Another one, your confidence is dipping after you're rejected. And I get it, especially if you are in the interview process for a job and they send you the email, thank you for your interest, thank you for applying, thank you for interviewing, but we've gone with somebody else. Your confidence is going to take a hit. It can't help but do so. It's just natural. Another reason why you need a reset is because you're working hard, but you're not working strategically. It's like you are running as fast as you can on a treadmill, but yet you're not getting anywhere. Another reason why you need a reset is that you are job searching in isolation. Particularly when you've been laid off, you're in between jobs, or you're in a job that you're miserable in, and you're in this process and you're doing it by yourself. It is a very, very lonely place. And oftentimes it is hard to stay motivated and focused. So you could use a reset. And then finally, you can use a reset if you just feel overwhelmed and discouraged or tired. You can use a reset. And we are going to use this month to set the stage for us to do that very effectively. Now, I'm going to give you an insider tip, an HR insider tip that a lot of people are not aware of. January is not the time to be slack. It's not the time to be messy. It is not the time to be off of your game. This is the time that you have got to be 100% on your game and to be precise, because I equate it to, have you ever seen the horse races and you have the horses behind that metal gate, and they're raring to go, getting ready to, waiting for the gunshot to shoot out for the race? That's where we are right now. So when that gunshot goes off and that gate goes up, we got to hit the ground running. And that is what we're talking about today. This episode is going to reset your mindset, your strategy, and your energy. So let's talk about the steps that we need to take in order to reset to get ready for 2026. Reset number one is get clear on your target. Okay. So many people just, arbitrarily or blindly apply for as many jobs as they can, thinking that quantity will get them a job. And that's not the case. So as they say, if you target everyone, you reach no one. So I was talking to another entrepreneur early on when I was trying to get this thing off the ground. And I was talking about all these ideas I had and all these things I wanted to do. And he said to me, look, what happens if you try to catch 3 bunnies? I said, well, it's kind of hard. And he said, exactly. You try to catch 3 bunnies, you catch 0 bunnies. You focus on 1 bunny at a time. And I was like, you're right. And we talked about how you have these serial entrepreneurs. And, let's take, for example, Elon Musk, right? He has the Tesla, he has the Starlink, he has so many other companies, but he's not trying to do everything at one time. He focuses on 1 bunny, he puts that in the cage, then he can focus on the next bunny, he puts that on the cage, he focuses on the next bunny, he puts that in the cage, right? That's how serial entrepreneurs do it. They don't try to do all of these launches at one time. It's the same exact thing for your job search. And I understand that's hard for people to get their head wrapped around. But when you're able to really hone in on the job that you want, the job that is ideal for you, you're able to focus and you're able to go deep. So your target determines a lot, okay? It determines your resume. It determines your LinkedIn headline. It determines your job search keywords. It determines your star plus stories. It determines your networking conversations, and it determines your interview angle. So until you are able to identify that target job and you're able to align all those things, you're all over the place. I've talked to so many people who say, you know what, I'm applying for jobs and this and that. And I'm like, well, what is that you want to do? Well, I can do, and then they want to rattle off 3 or 4 things. And I'm like, no, 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 no. And when you look at a lot of LinkedIn profiles, as a matter of fact, I would love for you to do this for me, if you would. Look at your LinkedIn profile. And is it clear on the job that you can do better than anyone? Is it clear on the value that you bring to that job? I met with a potential client a couple months ago, and his headline read something about operations manager, HR manager, speaker. I mean, it was like 4 or 5 very disparate things. And I'm like, but I can't even figure out where to place you. And with recruiters and hiring managers, like having very short, attention spans and very short on time, they're not going to look at your profile trying to figure out where to place you. So your headline needs to be very clear in terms of the role that you play and the value that you bring. Because at the end of the day, without a target, everything that you're doing is nothing but noise. I'm just saying. Okay. So this is the reset action that I want you to take today. I want you to pick one job title category as your primary target for January. Just one. Okay. So examples of this can be project manager, HR business partner, operations lead, project marketing manager, data analyst. Pick one. And then that is going to be your lane. And that is the lane I want you to stay in. Okay. All right. Let's talk about reset step number 2. Rewrite your value story. Now, doing this changes everything, because at the end of the day, it's not resumes that get jobs, value does. And so your value story is going to be able to answer the questions: what results do you bring and why do they matter? Now, a lot of job seekers merely list tasks they do. Take a look at your resume. Does it just list tasks, or does it outline the value that you bring? Champions and the people who are winning at the game, they are able to outline and describe their impact. So this is the reset action that I want you to take for this one. Write down this sentence, and you don't have to complete it right now because you may want to think on it, but write the sentence down. I help blank do blank so that blank. And there you have it. That is your 2026 value story. That is your North Star. And that is how and what you'll use to start building and creating all the other things I previously talked about, right? Your LinkedIn headline, your resume, your networking conversations, your star stories. That one sentence right there will start to lay the groundwork for all those other things. Now, reset step number 3 is updating your LinkedIn. Now, let me let you in on another secret. The fresh profiles are the ones that show up the most in searches, because LinkedIn's algorithm, it prefers freshness. So if you haven't updated your LinkedIn profile in a year or more, then you're going to show up lower in the searches. So I always advise my clients to update their profiles once a quarter, twice a year, at least once a year. If you are in the market looking for another job, then ideally you are tweaking it at least every quarter or so that you can show up higher in the search results. So what is it that you are updating? You don't have to, update the whole thing. I'm not saying, your job history is your job history. So unless you think of other things that might be relative now to your target job, you may not have to update those items. But the main things you want to update are your headline, your about section, your featured section, the skills that align now to the target role you have identified. You want to add one strong recommendation and you want to add one recent achievement. Those are the things that will cause you to show up higher in the search results. So, for your reset action for this week, for right now, for today, for this week, I want you to make your profile January ready before January the 5th by updating a few of those things, even better, all of those things, to be able to refresh your profile, because that alone is going to triple your visibility on LinkedIn. Okay. Now, reset step number 4. We want to start building our January network list. So if you watched my last episode about the holidays, or it was the episode last week sometime, if you watched that episode about, December being a prime time to network, then you'll know that you are being put in situations and places that are great for networking. You're getting together with your family. You're getting together with, your coworkers or former coworkers and your friends. And so even though these are holiday gatherings, they are still opportunities to engage people in conversations or start conversations that you will continue to have in January. So what I want you to do is I want you to create 3 lists, okay? So your first list is going to be your warm connections. These are people that you've spoken with recently. Your second list is going to be your industry peers. These are people who are actually in the job that you want the most, or that you want, your target job. And then your list number 3, or group number 3, if you want to put these in groups, are your company insiders. These are people that you know that are connected to your target companies. Now, your reset action is to schedule 3 to 5 short calls between January the 7th and the 20th. Okay. Now, I know a lot of people are like, what? I got to actually talk to people. Guess what? Yes, you need to talk to people. Now, even though we are in a society where people like to text, there is nothing like conversations when you're networking. Now, they don't have to be in person. I mean, you can do something over the phone, but honestly, even video calls are even better. And everybody's used to doing video calls, right? We have Zoom, we have Teams, we have Google, Meet, which is free. But the more that people can see you and they see your passion and your energy, then the more they're able to connect with you and the more they are willing to help you network. So figure out those 3 to 5 calls that you want to make. If you're going to be interacting with some of these people over the holidays, even better, let them know, hey, let's connect early, next year. Would love to talk about, catch up on what you're doing, catch up on what I'm doing, this and that, and then go from there. And you'll find that once you start doing it, it becomes so easy. So again, reset action, schedule those 3 to 5 calls to take place in January. You will absolutely be shocked to see how things evolve from those conversations and how opportunities show up. And you can thank me later. Okay, reset step number 5. We want to rebuild our confidence muscle. So let me say this clearly. A shaky voice will ruin a strong interview, but a strong voice can save a shaky resume. Okay, there is nothing like confidence. Confidence is, in fact, a job search skill. And after you've, been impacted by a layoff, or you're miserable in your job, then you deserve a confidence muscle reset. So this is the action that I want you to take for this. I want you to record yourself answering these 3 questions. 1 is, tell me about yourself. 2, what value do you bring to this role, your target role? And then 3, why now, why this, and why you? Now, the things you want to look out for when you are recording yourself in this is to watch your tone, watch your energy, and watch your clarity, because the confidence is going to come from the clarity. Now, this is where a lot of people tend to fumble the ball because they do not have these responses prepared. And they're stammering, they're stuttering, they're and it tends to go downhill from there. But I'm telling you, I've seen it every single time for people who are able to drop their responses at the drop of a dime. Their confidence continues to increase in the interview, and they're able to crush it every time. And it starts with answering those simple questions. And even if you aren't asked those questions per se, just knowing them and being able to speak to them in your other responses will help you tremendously in the confidence for yourself, but also how it comes across to the people that you're interviewing with. Now, I love ChatGPT for this exercise because ChatGPT has that feature where you are able to talk directly with ChatGPT. You'll see the little microphone. So I would ask ChatGPT to be your interview coach, and that you are going to practice asking or answering these questions. And you give it the questions and you ask it what to look for and what to score you on or rate you on. You want it to score you on your tone, your energy, and your clarity. And then you just keep doing it until, and you can ask it to give you a numerical score at the end, but until you get a 5 or a 10 or whatever the highest rating is, you keep doing it, you keep doing it. Now, if you can get somebody to do this exercise with you, that's just as great. But ChatGPT, I love it for for that reason, is that you're actually able to have a conversation with someone and go back and forth to be able to perfect your responses. So that's your reset number 5 that I want you to do to get ready for January. So reset step number 6 is creating your January job search routine. Now, I don't know about you, but time just gets away from me, right? When I don't have a set routine, I just find that I tend to be kind of all over the place and the time gets away from me and I don't know where it goes. So for your job search, particularly for January, you want to be able to have a very solid routine where you are able to maximize your time and your energy. So that means no more marathon job searching where you're sitting in front of your computer for 7 to 8 hours. I've talked to people who've done that. And you're able to avoid the burnout and the chaos when you're able to have focused, hyper-focused periods of time that you're focusing on your job search and nothing else. So your new routine, this is something I like to share with my clients, is 1 hour a day, right? That's 20 minutes working on your networking, 10 minutes working on your LinkedIn optimization, 20 minutes of targeted job searching, and then 10 minutes of tracking and reflection. Okay. Now, this 1 hour will beat 5 chaotic ones and being distracted and, oh, let me answer this email and this and that. Having that one focus hour. Now, I'm not saying that that has to be the only hour in the day that you use, but if you're able to do these in 1 hour blocks, I think you'll find that it'll be a lot more effective for you, both, physically and mentally. Now, if you want to modify that a little bit, you can. But again, I found that to be most effective. And the thing that most people ask me about is, well, wait a minute, I'm spending most of my time on networking and not, like filling out applications. Well, you'll see is 20 minutes devoted equally to your target job search and networking. But the point of the matter is more jobs are found through networking than sitting in front of a computer and applying for jobs. And when I'm talking about target job searching, I'm not even talking about looking for a job, postings. I'm talking about connecting with the people in the jobs, in the companies and the industries, or even introductions that will help get you to your target job. That's what I'm talking about there. So again, the main point is making sure you are identifying these focus blocks of time that you can focus on your job search the right way and starting that in January 2026. Okay. Now, reset step number 7 is protecting your mental space. Look, especially if you've been separated from your job, it takes an emotional toll on you. And the job search itself is very emotional and it's like a roller coaster, you know. One minute you're feeling good because you're interviewing for 2 and 3 different jobs. You got people reaching out to you. And then in another 2 or 3 weeks, the phone is silent, no one's calling, and you've already gotten the rejection emails. It's a very emotional time, can be very up and down. And January rejections, for whatever reason, hit you harder. I think it's because it's the start of the new year and you have so much anticipation of getting closer to your goals in January. So those can really take a hit. So that's why protecting your mental space and protecting your peace is so important. So how do we do that? And I think, I think intuitively we pretty much know how to do it, but sometimes we have to spell it out because these things tend to creep in and they are disrupting our mental. The first thing we want to do is to stop doom scrolling. So that's where you're on social media and you're just scrolling through on Instagram, Facebook, and it appears that everybody's living their best life. They are dressing up and they're going on their holiday events. They're going on these fabulous vacations. They're in these fabulous jobs. They're driving these fabulous cars. And it can really cause you to question, well, what am I doing wrong? Well, keep in mind, I remind myself of this all the time and other people. People present the story that they want you to believe that they have, and it's not the reality. But we tend to forget that. So I encourage people to really limit their social media when they are job searching, because you're at a very vulnerable, point in your life during this time. But if nothing else, just stop the needless doom strolling, because if you pay attention, you'll probably find that once you get off social media, you probably feel worse after you've gotten off than you did when you got on. So it's just something you really, really need to be conscious of. The second thing is mute negative people. This is the same thing that goes to social media. Sometimes we interact with people and we feel worse afterwards than we did before. That's somebody you need to mute. Now, again, everybody has good intentions. Most people have good intentions, but people think nothing about offering you advice, what you need to do, why you're in the situation you're in. You should do this, you should do that, or whatever. And it's very wearing. So again, you got to protect your peace and distance yourself from negative people, or even the people who may not intentionally be negative, but who tend to drain you more than you need to be drained, or the people for whom you feel worse after you've interacted with them than you did before. Just protect your space from people. The next thing I want you to do to reset and build and protect your mental space is to celebrate the small wins. Look, if you got a call back about a job, phone screen, but it wasn't a fit, then that's something to celebrate, because there was something about your resume, your profile, or they connected with someone who knew you that caused them to pick up the phone to call you or to reach out. That is something to celebrate. If you made it through 3 rounds of interviews and you didn't get the job, that's a reason to celebrate. Because again, these are people who are finding you and finding it worthy of their time to meet with you and get to know you better. So, I remember I saw on social media one time, this woman had responded. She was so ticked off because she had gone through 3 or 4 rounds of interviews only to get the dreaded "thank you for your interest" email at the end. And as I said, one, be thankful that they thought enough of you to take you through 3 to 4 interviews. But 2, people forget. If you are going through 3 or 4 rounds of interviews, you need to know that there are 2 or 3 other people that are also going through 3 or 4 rounds of interviews who are considered their final candidates. So until they call you and say, "Hey, congratulations, we would like to offer you the job," the game is not over and you need to be on top of it. But nonetheless, when you're getting these opportunities, when you get these introductions, when you get these callbacks, when you get these reach outs, those are reasons to celebrate. So celebrate the small wins. The next thing is ask for help. Now, I know a lot of us are very prideful. I am, but I find that most people want to help. They just don't know how, and they don't want to offend you by offering their help. So if you have people that you value, you trust, ask them, hey, do you mind taking a look at my resume? Do you mind, helping me prepare for this interview? Hey, do you mind going out for coffee? I just need to, take a break, in the afternoon just to step away from my computer. I think you'll find more often than not that people will be honored that you thought enough of them to ask them for their assistance. So to protect your mental space, go ahead and ask for help. I think you'll find that 9 times out of 10, you'll be glad that you did. Next thing you need to do is to take breaks. Now, I know before, when I didn't have Mr. Rocky here, I could stay in my house in front of my computer for 6, 7, 8 hours on end. I could even stay in my apartment, my condo, for 6, 7 days. It didn't bother me at all. But now that I have to take him out at least twice a day, it forces me to get out, get some sunshine, get some air, interact with people. And I just feel a lot lighter. I feel a lot better. It allows me to take a break, rest my eyes. And so I am so thankful for these mandatory breaks, so to speak. So I tell people all the time, if you have a dog, then a dog is the best thing for a job search because you tend to interact with other dog owners or dog lovers, and it gets you out. And so you need to use it. It is absolutely, an advantage in the job search. But even if you have a pet, right? You have a cat, you have a gerbil, whatever, just the interaction with that pet is also very good for your mental health. So love on your pets if you have them. And the last thing is to protect your mental health is to remember that your transition is not failure. Now, my first 2 layoffs, I completely felt like a failure. I felt like discarded goods. I felt stupid. I just felt embarrassed. But then by the third one, I just realized, you know what? It was time for me to move on from that job. I had outgrown it. And I had come to believe and trust that there was something better for me, on the other side. So that's why with this last layoff in particular, I was like, oh, okay, I guess it's time for me in my next venture. So the way that you approach this transition and the way you think about it, it comes across. People will notice it, right? I remember during one of my layoffs, I was talking to a friend of a friend. I just met her, and she said, "Oh, what are you doing?" I said, "Oh, I got laid off, whatever." She said, "Well, you look and sound mighty, highly favored to me." And I was like, "Well, I feel like that." So it comes across to people, and people are drawn to that, and it makes them want to interact with you and help you even more. So reframe your story, reframe the way that you think about it, because it will absolutely makes the difference. And it is that energy that is going to drive your job search in the right way. So with that, I have given you all the things you need to do for the reset. Please do the steps. It will absolutely position you to start 2026 on the right foot in the right way. And you'll be so proud that you did. So look, 2025 has been a challenging year, but regardless of what you've gone through, I guarantee that you have learned from it. I guarantee that you have grown, and I guarantee that you have stretched, and you are going to be able to use those things to parlay into an even better opportunity into 2026. Because 2026 is going to be your comeback year, and it's going to be your breakthrough year, and it's going to be your realignment year. But the reset is the very first step. Now, I am working on something, after talking to so many people, I've decided to launch my very first free webinar in December the 18th, to talk more about how the job search has changed and why a reset such as this is so important. So it's going to be live. I'm doing it actually at 2 times because surprisingly, we've already had 50 people sign up for the webinar. So I added an additional session to allow more people to participate and to be able to accommodate the different time zones even better. So the webinar is going to be on December the 18th, and I'm running it 2 times. I'm going to do one at 11 a.m. and I'm going to do one at 7 p.m. It's going to be the same discussion. I'm just offering it at different times. But in the webinar, I'm going to talk about why applying harder isn't working anymore. I'm going to talk about why confidence and not your resume is the new currency and the new game changer. And I'm going to talk about the whole play to win method that helps people land interviews faster. And I'm also giving away, because I know it's the holidays, and if you are not working right now, your money is tight, and I want to treat people. So I am giving away a free massage or facial at Hand and Stone Massage and Facial Spa to a lucky winner on each of the calls. All you have to do is be there during the drawing and you'll be eligible to win, but I'll be giving that away as a gift. So if you are interested in attending, then comment webinar below, or you can send me an email to info@exit2excel.com, and I will send you all the details. So again, mark your calendar, December the 18th, 11 a.m. and 7 p.m. The presentation, the discussion will be about an hour and 15 minutes, but I'll also be, answering questions live. So I hope to join you because I am so serious about making a difference in 2026. And I want you to be able to, reach your goals, whatever it is that you are aspiring to do in 2026. I want to help you and I want us to do it together. So I hope to see you there. And I'll look to see you on the next episode of Exit to Excel podcast. Take care.